Imagine you're a senior supply chain manager.
Okay.
You spent like 15 years mastering global shipping routes. You know exactly how to navigate customs delays, port strikes, sudden weather anomalies. You know your job inside and out.
Right. You're the absolute expert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then it's one Tuesday morning in April 2026, and you log into your dashboard. But an AI agent has already rerouted 3 delayed shipments.
Wow.
Yeah, it negotiated new freight rates in real time, updated the compliance manifest, all of it. Now, you aren't fired.
You're still there.
You are still sitting at your desk.
Yeah.
But you aren't really needed to, actually do the work anymore. You are suddenly just waiting.
Yeah. And welcome to what labor economists are now calling the waiting class.
The waiting class, it's such a bleak term.
It is a chilling scenario, honestly, and it is playing out across virtually every white-collar industry right now.
Yeah, because you weren't, fully displaced yet.
Right. You're not fired, but your traditional skills have been rendered totally obsolete by these automated systems. You're just stuck in this professional purgatory, sidelined with no clear path forward.
And that exact crisis is what the documents you, our listener, send in today are trying to solve.
Which is a massive stack of materials, by the way.
It really is. We are looking at a huge white paper and a rollout strategy from EON Reality and EON AI Ventures.
Yeah.
All right, let's unpack this. Our listeners specifically asked us to dive into EON's newly unveiled 3 Doors framework.
And what's fascinating here is the sheer scale of the organization behind this framework.
Right. This isn't some startup that just launched last week.
Not at all. EON has a massive footprint. We're talking 25 years in immersive learning, over 136 million platform downloads.
That's huge.
Yeah, operations in over 80 countries, something like 4,400 institutional partners. So when they say they have a blueprint to rescue the global workforce from this AI squeeze,
They actually have the infrastructure to deploy it.
exactly. This is a massive deployment, not just theory.
But, before we open the 3 doors and look at the solutions, I really want to interrogate the premise a bit.
Okay, sure.
Are we really facing a complete AI takeover of human expertise? Because, when I look at AI right now, even in 2026, it still hallucinates.
Oh, definitely.
It still makes these really weird, unpredictable, logical leaps. So why is human expertise still considered vital enough to warrant this, global rescue framework?
Well, that friction is exactly where EON builds its foundation. They use what we can call the 8100 rule.
The 8100 rule. Walk me through that.
So generic AI, the kind driving those automated emails or, writing basic code, it is incredibly impressive. But it generally plateaus at about 80% quality or accuracy.
Okay, 80%, which for an email is probably fine.
Exactly. For a basic administrative task, 80% is great. But EON points out that the global economy actually runs on high-stakes industries.
Like what?
Healthcare, advanced manufacturing, defense, aviation. And in those fields, an 80% accuracy rate is a catastrophe.
Well, yeah, because a 20% margin of error in, an aviation repair.
Or a surgical procedure.
Right. It means people die.
Precisely. You cannot have an AI that is only 80% sure about the torque required on a commercial jet's turbine blade. The implications are dire.
Right.
So as AI handles all the baseline tasks, the premium on human experts to close that critical 20% gap has never been higher. You need humans to guide operations, catch those edge cases, maintain strict compliance.
So the human is still the ultimate fail-safe.
Exactly.
Which logically brings us to the first big friction point.
Yeah.
Because if the economy desperately needs humans to handle that top 20% of high-stakes physical work, we have a major problem.
The retirement cliff.
Yes. The people who actually know how to do this stuff are retiring. The master electricians, the veteran scrub nurses, the senior machinists, they're leaving.
And taking decades of nuanced, unwritten knowledge right out the door with them.
And that brain drain is the exact target for EON's first solution. The framework calls this Door 1 skills.
Right. And this pathway is designed specifically for trades and frontline roles where AI simply cannot replace physical human intervention.
You can't have ChatGPT swap out a transformer on a power pole.
Exactly. So to bridge the gap between those retiring experts and the incoming novices, EON is deploying these tools called Genesis 2 and Genesis 3.
Right, and the documentation calls these, quote, advanced immersive scenario-based simulations, end quote. Which, I'll be honest, sounds a bit like marketing jargon.
It does sound like a brochure, yeah.
So let's pop the hood on Genesis. How does a 22-year-old apprentice actually use this on a random Tuesday morning? Are we talking about, like, a desktop app?
No, no, we are talking about spatial AI and extended reality, or XR.
Okay.
Imagine the apprentice putting on a mixed reality headset. They aren't looking at a 2D manual on a screen. EON's platform actually captures the physical telemetry and the spatial movements of the retiring expert while they perform a complex task.
Wait, really? Like, it tracks their body?
Yes. Say the expert is calibrating a really sensitive medical imaging machine. Genesis records exactly where they look, how their hands move, the precise sequence of every physical action.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So it's essentially creating a digital ghost of the expert.
That's a great way to put it.
Like when you play a racing video game,
Yeah.
and you race against that translucent ghost car of the track record holder to learn their exact racing line.
That is a phenomenal analogy. Yes, you are racing the ghost.
That's wild.
So the new worker steps into the simulation, and the XR environment physically guides their hands and eyes to match the master's technique.
So they can practice over and over.
Hundreds of times. They can practice high-stakes, low-frequency events like a catastrophic machine failure or a rare surgical complication in a completely simulated space.
Where a 20% margin of error costs absolutely nothing.
Exactly. By the time they touch the real machine or the real patient, they possess the muscle memory of a 30-year veteran.
Okay, that makes total sense for the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
If you turn a wrench or hold a scalpel, Door 1 uses spatial computing to make you an elite failsafe.
Right.
But let's go back to our supply chain manager from the intro. What if your job doesn't involve a physical environment at all?
Ah, the knowledge workers.
Yeah. What if your entire output is digital? Spreadsheets, logistics coordination, marketing copy. I mean, that is the exact work generic AI is already eating for breakfast.
And that is exactly why mid-career knowledge workers are at the absolute highest risk of joining the waiting class.
Mm-hmm.
If your job is entirely digital and manual, you are standing on the tracks.
Just waiting to get run over.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So for this massive segment of the workforce, EON offers Door 2.
Orchestrator.
And walking through this door requires a fundamental psychological pivot. You have to stop viewing yourself as the person who does the work and start viewing yourself as the person who manages the systems doing the work.
Okay, so the framework highlights a tool here called Solve IQ. And I want to get really specific about the mechanism here because a lot of companies promise, AI management.
Sure. It's a buzzword.
Right. But EON says Solve IQ allows professionals to use plain language to get solutions from coordinated AI systems. Walk me through the reality of that interface.
So think of it like walking into a commercial kitchen.
Okay.
Before Door 2, you were a line cook. You were chopping the onions, searing the steak, plating the food, manual execution.
Like the grind.
Exactly. Solve IQ elevates you to the role of the executive chef at the expediter station. You aren't holding a knife anymore. You're holding the tickets, looking at the entire dining room, and shouting orders to a kitchen full of automated sous chefs.
And those sous chefs are the AI agents.
Right. So you literally just type a plain language prompt into Solve IQ. Something like, we have a logistics bottleneck at the Port of Long Beach, analyze alternative rail routes, and draft an impact report for the client.
So wait, I don't need to know Python. Or how to write API scripts to connect a database to a language model.
Not at all. Solve IQ acts as the translator. It takes your natural language command, breaks it down, and assigns the subtasks to specialized AI agents.
Okay, so they divide and conquer.
Yeah. One agent pulls the rail data, another does the cost analysis, a third formats the PDF report.
But wait, I have to push back here.
Go ahead.
If I don't know how to code, and I didn't personally pull that rail data, how do I know the AI did just completely hallucinate?
The hallucination problem.
Yeah, how do I know it didn't invent a train track across a lake? Because if I'm the orchestrator, my name is going on that final report to the client.
That is the exact right question to ask, and it highlights exactly why the human orchestrator is still necessary. Your job shifts from manual creation to strategic verification and quality assurance.
Quality assurance, okay.
Because you spent 15 years as a supply chain manager, you have the domain expertise to look at the AI's output and immediately spot the hallucinated train track.
Because I know there's no track across that lake.
Exactly. An entry-level employee couldn't spot the error, and an unsupervised AI just wouldn't care. The orchestrator applies human intuition, contextual awareness, and ethical judgment to the automated output before it ever goes to the client. You become the editor of reality.
The editor of reality. I like that.
Right.
So door one scales your physical skills.
Mm-hmm.
Door two scales your cognitive management.
Yep.
But reading through the white paper, there's a segment of the workforce that just isn't going to be satisfied with verifying AI reports all day. Some people want to build their own system.
The innovators.
Right. And that brings us to door three, builder.
Yes, the builder pathway is squarely aimed at entrepreneurial workers. If you want to use this massive technological shift to develop entirely new business models or software tools, EON provides the AI Founder Program and the Venture Builder.
And the timeline they propose here is, frankly, incredibly aggressive. The documents outline a 90-day sprint. It starts with an AI literacy diagnostic, follows up with a localized market scan to see what your region actually needs, and then expects this displaced worker to develop and deploy a working prototype in 3 months.
Yeah, 90 days from idea to deployment.
I'll be honest, when I read that, my skepticism alarm went off.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Even with a brilliant idea, a single person cannot build the front end, the back end, the database architecture, and the marketing strategy for a scalable AI product in 90 days. It's impossible.
Well, on their own, yes, it's completely impossible. But this is where we have to look at the actual mechanism EON provides to Door 3 participants.
Okay.
They aren't just giving them a textbook and wishing them luck. They provide access to EON's proprietary 250-agent radar engine.
Okay, a 250-agent radar engine, to jargon that for me. What is the human actually interacting with?
It's essentially a swarm of specialized large language models. When you walk through Door 3, you aren't a solopreneur. You are suddenly the CEO of a company with 250 highly specialized digital employees.
Wait, 250 distinct agents?
Yes. One AI agent is explicitly trained as a senior UX designer. Another is a database architect. Another is a quality assurance tester, whose only job is to strictly try to break the code. Another is a market researcher analyzing competitor pricing.
Oh, wow. So I essentially have a virtual Fortune 500 R&D department, and I just sit at the center and direct traffic.
Exactly. You provide the vision, the localized market knowledge, and the ultimate decisions. The radar swarm writes the code, designs the interface, and builds the prototype. That is how you compress a 2-year development cycle into a 90-day sprint.
But let's talk about the friction here.
Sure.
If it is this easy, if EON is just handing out armies of 250 genius digital employees, why isn't everyone who walks through door 3 instantly a billionaire? Like, what is the catch? And how does intellectual property even work in a setup like this?
Well, the catch is that executing a vision is incredibly hard, even with a massive team.
Fair point.
Think about it. A team of 250 brilliant human interns will still build absolute garbage if the manager doesn't give them clear, rigid, structurally sound direction. The bottleneck shifts from labor capacity to vision and management. If you don't actually understand the market problem you're trying to solve, your 250 agents will just build a totally useless product very, very quickly.
Right. Bad instructions yield bad software just at light speed.
Exactly. And regarding the intellectual property, this operates similarly to standard venture builder models or enterprise software agreements.
So who owns what?
The human entrepreneur retains the IP of the unique business logic and the final product. EON provides the foundational platform rails, usually in exchange for platform licensing fees or a microequity stake, depending on the specific program structure. EON is essentially building the picks and shovels for the gold rush.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which brings up the most critical logistical question of this entire deep dive.
Okay.
The 3 doors, framework skills, orchestrator, builder, it makes deep logical sense. It maps perfectly onto the human limitations of the AI economy. But having 3 perfect doors is entirely useless if you cannot get millions of displaced workers to actually walk through them before the 2026 window closes. How does EON realistically deploy this globally without it turning into an absolute administrative nightmare?
That is the make or break challenge, isn't it?
Definitely.
To solve it, EON built what they call their distribution engine. And the white paper describes this as a 6-channel platform featuring programmatic demand layers and embedded distribution rails.
Okay, more dense corporate speak. Programmatic demand layers and embedded distribution rails. Translate that into how this actually reaches a worker.
It means frictionless integration. EON isn't trying to force millions of workers to go out, find a new website, download a new standalone application, and set up new accounts.
Nobody wants another login.
Exactly. They are embedding their technology into the pipes that already exist. A programmatic demand layer means EON systems hook via APIs directly into the software institutions are already using.
So if I'm a university student, it just shows up in Canvas or Blackboard.
Hmm.
And if I'm a corporate employee, it's integrated directly into Workday or Microsoft Teams.
Precisely. They have automated the distribution. To manage this massive flow of data and access, EON AI Ventures actually split their operations into two distinct platform businesses.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, you have the Enterprise AI platform. This plugs directly into corporate logistics, focused entirely on optimizing operational intelligence, basically making the company run faster and cheaper.
And the second platform handles the human element.
Right. The virtual campus, sometimes referred to as the virtual compass. This site is embedded into educational and corporate training networks to deliver the actual upskilling, the simulations, and the certifications.
So they're coming at it from both sides.
Yeah, the enterprise platform optimizes the system, and the virtual campus prepares the humans to run that system. They are attacking the workforce crisis from the top-down corporate side and the bottom-up individual side simultaneously.
Which makes perfect sense when you read the underlying philosophy of the company. Dan Lajerskar, the chairman of EON AI Ventures, has a quote in the PR materials that really serves as the thesis for this whole framework.
Oh, I know the one.
He says, quote, "The fourth industrial revolution is not only a technological shift, it's a workforce transformation."
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the exact paradigm shift the waiting class needs to understand. The tools aren't just changing. The fundamental definition of what it means to work is changing.
Yeah.
EON's stated goal is to ensure that as AI's capabilities expand, human capability expands right alongside it, rather than just being paved over.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? If you are sitting at your desk right now, looking at the tools, automating your daily tasks, the message from this deep dive is that you cannot afford to just wait.
No, you really can't.
The waiting class is a real destination, and it's a permanent dead end. But the three doors framework proves that there are mechanical, actionable ways to escape it.
There's a way out.
Exactly. If your field requires zero margin for error, Door 1 uses spatial computing to turn you into an elite failsafe.
Right.
If your digital tasks are being automated, Door 2 gives you the interface to stop doing the work and start managing the AI agents that do. And if you see a gap in the market, Door 3 hands you a swarm of 250 AI developers to build the solution yourself. The goal isn't to compete with AI, it's to wield it.
It is a profoundly optimistic approach to what is otherwise a very terrifying economic transition. EON is providing a tangible architecture for survival.
They really are. But as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over. It's a friction point that builds entirely on EON's vision, but it's a puzzle we haven't quite solved yet.
Oh, I'm curious.
Think about the orchestrator in Door 2. We said that a veteran supply chain manager makes a great orchestrator because they have 15 years of domain expertise. They know what a hallucinated train route looks like because they used to route the trains manually. But if EON's vision is fully realized, if all the manual, routine, digital work is automated by AI, what happens to the concept of the entry-level job?
Oh, wow. That is the ultimate paradox of this transition.
Right. If the basic data entry, the simple coding, the routine analysis, the bottom rungs of the career ladder are entirely done by AI, how will the next generation get their foot in the door?
That's a huge question.
Where do the orchestrators of tomorrow get their foundational domain expertise if there are no entry-level jobs left to teach them how the industry actually works? I mean, how do you become the executive chef if you are never allowed to chop the onion?
You can't.
It is a massive structural puzzle, and it is one the global workforce is going to have to figure out very, very soon.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much to our listener for sending in this massive, vital stack of sources. It provided exactly the kind of complex, mechanical, and deeply relevant topic we love unpacking here.
Yeah, this was a great one.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and whatever you do, don't just wait on the bench. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.